All right, welcome back, U.S. history students. So, in class today, we've looked at the rise of fascism across Europe. We saw that being introduced through some Donald Duck cartoons and also some Looney Tunes. And for this video, we're really going to dive deeper into the rise of the Third Reich and the rise of Hitler and the German Empire that begins to take over Europe, sparking World War II. Now, I know you guys have covered this in world history, but there may be some terms that you guys have not covered yet. And we just need to clear up a few of these things before we can have class tomorrow and really get into some more nitty-gritty on all of this. Probably one of the most famous people or infamous people of all time. You guys all recognize his face. He's the symbol of pure evil for many of us, but it's important for us to understand the history behind everything in order to fully appreciate what World War I meant to us and the rest of really the world and what this whole thing was all about. So we have Adolf Hitler here, born in Austria in 1889, not Germany. We've known through World War I that we have the country of Austria-Hungary and also Germany, and that's been those borders and the areas have kind of been changing over time. But Hitler was born in Austria and he moved to Germany, so he has ties to both countries. Hitler's main goal as a child, he wanted to be an artist. His father did not allow that. He did not want his son to be an artist and was very strict about it, kind of caused a division between the two. His father died in 1903. Hitler left regular school, trying to enroll in art school now that his father was dead, but Hitler just wasn't a good enough artist. He couldn't cut it and was not accepted into any art program. So he moved back to Austria and he lived in Vienna for a while. He was working some odd jobs until his mother died, and then he ran out of money, not having his mother as part of a support system. And really in Vienna is where he starts to kind of adopt his very anti-Semitic thoughts. And if you guys don't know what anti-Semitism is, it's the hatred of Jews, the Jewish people, the Jewish religion, and Jewish culture. So if someone is called anti-Semitic, they do not like Jews. And that's where Hitler really starts to get that those emotions and those feelings implanted in him and kind of his rough experiences in Vienna. So he actually serves in the German military during World War I. He's awarded many medals for his bravery. He rises the ranks in the military. He's even wounded a couple times, which helps him win some medals. He was very committed to the German military and especially to German values. He believed that Germany was the greatest country in the world, that concept of nationalism that we talked about during World War I. And also that Germany and Austria should just be one country, that they should unite. There's a term for this that we're going to called Anschluss, which means in German just the unity of Germany and Austria together. He kind of felt it was their destiny to come together as one big country and really assert themselves in the world stage. Now, when Germany gets defeated in World War I and they have all these terrible things from the German perspective put on them, taking blame for the war, having to pay for it, having to reduce their military, Hitler and many other Germans like him were very emotionally affected by this. They felt that the rest of the world was pointing the fingers at Germany, and this is really an indictment of German culture, values, everything. And it kind of sparked in him this desire to reassert Germany, to unite Germany and Austria together, and to promote their culture, their nation, their values to the rest of the world, to show them that they weren't just this provocative country that is out there provoking conflict. So we have images like this that Hitler would have seen growing up to kind of reinforce this idea of German dominance. We have Germany being represented by these symbols here as a very, brave man riding in on a horse or some sort of angelic figure up here, kind of coming down and saving the common man. This is that idea of Anschluss, where we have a German man here in his lederhosen putting up the keystone, the last piece of the bridge that holds it all together. It's labeled Anschluss, and it is uniting Germany and Austria on both sides. So this idea wasn't just something that Hitler had. It's very prevalent all across um, Europe, especially across Germany and Austria, that they should be united as one country, kind of assert all this culture and these national values that they all held in common together. And we see this concept too of the Aryan man and woman. Aryan is a word to describe people who are white with blonde hair and blue eyes. That's who Hitler believed was kind of the dominant culture and set of dominant people throughout the world. He wanted this prototypically German, Austrian looking group of people to be dominant, to be considered the best in the world. So you'll see images of Aryan people as we go through the rest of this unit. And so remember, after World War I, the Weimar Republic gets installed. The Weimar Republic gets installed at the end of World War I. That's the name of the government that's formed after Germany has all of these sanctions imposed upon them. Now, Hitler and some other very far right-wing individuals living in Germany at the time kind of believed in something called the stabbed in the back myth that really surrounds the reason why the Weimar Republic became a thing that was controlling Germany. They believed that Germany didn't actually lose World War I, but it didn't have enough committed citizens at home during the war to help spur them on to victory. There were some people within Germany who were not supporting the war, and these are the people that are helping install the Weimar Republic, this new government that is ruling Germany after the war. Now, there's really no truth to this, but it's kind of like a conspiracy theory that Hitler and many others believed in, that Germany was stabbed in the back by some ungrateful and uncommitted citizens that were not looking out for Germany's best interests. So all of this is happening after World War I. Hitler is really upset by their loss, and he joins up with a group of people that call themselves the National Socialist German Workers' Party, NSDAP, or Nazi Party for short. That's where the word comes from. Now, socialist doesn't actually mean that they are socialist people. They're not associated with socialism at all, but that's just the name of their group, their kind of political party. And he starts really drawing some attention to himself. He's giving public speeches. He's speaking out against the Jews. He's speaking out against communism, who are Marxists, and also other traitors to Germany. Things are not going well in Germany. The Weimar Republic, as you can see, due to hyperinflation, and we talked about that a bit. Their currency is worthless. The government's falling apart. You can use the money to stack as building blocks because it's so worthless and just can't buy you anything. Things in Germany have been falling apart since the end of World War I, and in part that's because they're asked to pay such outrageous amounts of money as kind of the losers of the war. So Hitler's joining in with this Nazi party, and he starts to really speak up and out against the government, Jews, and other enemies to what he believes is Germany and what Germany stands for. He gets arrested actually in 1923 for attempting to really create this violent revolution. He doesn't serve very long in jail. He's sentenced for 5 years. He only served one, gets released in December of 1924. But while he was in jail, Hitler had time. You can see this is a picture of him in jail. He still had a lot of followers. He was getting wildly popular at the time. He got really, really good treatment while he was in jail, and he spent that time writing his book. You guys have all heard of it before. It's called Mein Kampf. In English, that means My Struggle. And that's where he put in all of the ideals and really outlined what the Nazi Party stands for. And this is something that kind of shapes the rest of the course of history here. It's where Hitler kind of gives us his full-fledged beliefs on what he believes the world should look like. So there's a ton of other events that happen during and really after he gets out of prison. We don't need to go through all of them because that's something you probably or should have at least done in world history. But we have all of these events going on. We make note of here, Black Tuesday, the stock market crashes. Remember, the Great Depression is felt all over the world, so the crappy things that were going on in Germany, Germany felt the effects of the Great Depression too. So we have all of these events happening, which kind of leads to Hitler gaining power. Again, that's getting a little bit too deep into Germany's history for us to cover. But just know that Hitler is becoming very popular, very powerful, and his ideals are not something that he alone just holds necessarily. Now, all of them and everything that's outlined in Mein Kampf, certainly not every German citizen believes in this, but Hitler has enough followers in order to start gaining power and eventually takes over the German government and becomes Chancellor of Germany and kind of installs a new government which he calls the Third Reich. So the Weimar Republic is no more and the Third Reich is in power. So let's dive just a little bit deeper into Nazism here, what it is. The three main parts are outlined in Mein Kampf, and there's three big factors. One, that we need to unite all German speakers. That means uniting Germany and Austria. That's that concept of Anschluss that we were looking at on a other slide. Establish Aryan dominance, so that man, woman, and child, blonde hair, blue eye. Hitler believed that that was the best looking group of people and the people that deserve to rule the world. That is Aryan dominance. And also we have this other German word here, Lebensraum, which means living space. And Hitler believed that not only should we unite Germany and Austria, but that the German government at this time, now the Third Reich, needs to start spreading out and expanding the borders of Germany because we need more living space. We need room for our people. We're going to become a powerful nation once again. Now, only 10% of Germans were members of the Nazi Party at its peak, but the ideals of it were very appealing to many people. And just because you weren't part of the Nazi Party doesn't mean you didn't support what was going on with your government. Again, if you're looking at these just things on the surface, they sound really good, especially if you're an Aryan person. That sounds great. Uniting all German speakers, kind of bringing Germany and Austria together, doesn't sound necessarily negative. Expanding out your country, Lebensraum, getting more living space, area to grow as a country. These things don't sound negative necessarily. Nothing in the three main parts really focuses on the absolute genocide of Jewish speaking or just Jewish people. So on its surface, you can see why there could be some support for this. So expansion and unity really becomes the key points in Hitler's goals leading up to World War II. In 1938, he successfully completes Anschluss. Austria and Germany are united as one country in March of 1938 when Hitler takes Austria over. Lebensraum, spreading out Germany now beyond Germany and Austria. Hitler takes over Czechoslovakia in September of 1938. No violence whatsoever. Marches in, takes it. Lebensraum, again, expanding the borders, and that's what Hitler's main goal is at this time. He begins looking at the country of Poland, which has plenty of other land and opportunity for Germany to take over and expand its borders as an empire. And they engage in a military tactic called Blitzkrieg in order to take over Poland. Again, very non-violently, but Blitzkrieg is moving in very quickly with a ton of troops to just overwhelm an area before they even have a chance to fight back. And that's exactly what happens in 1939. He engages in that concept of Blitzkrieg. He just sends troops and tanks straight into Poland very quickly, overwhelms them, and annexes it as part of the German Empire now, the Third Reich. And that's all we have for you today. Make sure you bring those notes back to class tomorrow.